I'm so excited to be here at the Black Bear Film Festival with our guest of honor, Ileana Douglas. Thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure. I'm enjoying this incredible weather. This is my first time here.
You see that? Her first time, and we ordered the weather especially for you.
Thank you. I've never had great autumn plus amazing weather. So.
Oh, I know, right. So here, you know what? Milford, Pennsylvania is a very special place. We are in the 25th year of the Black Bear Film Festival, the longest running film festival in northeastern Pennsylvania, I'm happy to say. And what brought you here?
Well, I'm very excited. I'm on my book tour. I've been promoting my movie, Connecticut in the Movies, and we are about to show a great matinee feature. Mr. Blandings builds his dream house, which was shot in Los Angeles, but based on a true story that happened in Connecticut.
And you're related to somebody in that film, aren't you?
Yes, and my grandfather is in the movie, along with Melvin Douglas, along with Cary Grant and the wonderful Myrna Loy.
I just love this story. Did you grow up with stories like this?
Well, you know, when I was a little kid, I actually met Myrna Loy a number of times. Yeah, she and my grandfather were very good friends. She lived in Manhattan, and they saw quite a bit of each other.
Wow.
So as a little kid, I hear them talking about the old days. So
but did you know how special this is? Like legacy.
We didn't have an internet, so
right.
I
Where were we before the internet?
I mean, I knew obviously they were classic film stars, and I sort of feel like the 70s was that era when we were just beginning to get into the great MGM musicals, and there was that, and That's Entertainment, and so that's when I think I began to get that awareness.
You were getting that, like, this is not every kid grows up with this kind of legacy.
Yes, exactly, and they would be talking about, various people that I loved and
Cary Grant, a casual chat about Cary Grant. I mean,
they would have all sorts of Joan Crawford, Marlene Dietrich,
amazing.
Greta
Garbo, all the greats.
They were all under contract, at the same time.
Yeah.
So, pretty amazing.
That's what they did with people in those days. And there's you, this little kid exposed to all of this.
Yes.
How did this influence your choice to become an actress in your own right?
Well, of course, my entrance I always wanted to be an actor, but to my grandfather's great shock, I loved movie musicals. Was
Was he horrified?
Yes.
When
I was very little, I used to say that Ruby Keeler was my favorite actress.
I love that.
Which he would sort of, okay.
And why is that, Ileana? Right.
But then I got more into comedy and the Marx Brothers and different writers and things like that. And I loved Ninotchka. And then obviously my taste started to broaden out. But originally, in fact, later on in his career, he did a movie called Ghost Story, and I went to visit him on the set, and literally all I cared about was meeting Fred Astaire.
Oh, now the truth comes out. Listen, there's a lot of us that would feel. Look at the people that you've met.
Yes.
What do we have? The term we use now, influencers. You had the true influencers from back in the day. The real deal influencers.
Really
so when you were, I interview a lot of people that are actors, and I love asking this question. You came up in the industry, but was that also inside of you, this passion?
Absolutely. I mean, my family, and I grew up in Connecticut, but we had ties, obviously, to Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
Going to see, I was talking this morning, going to see Broadway plays with my grandfather, and so it was very much, I think, a kind of a very artistic family. We all were in the arts in some way or another, and so I started out doing local theater in Connecticut, but it was very important for my grandfather to be, training in those days. It was a different era.
Yes.
They wanted you to go out on the stage, and
that's how it used to be. You used to do torturous summer stock,
exactly,
right?
Exactly.
To get your chops wet, as they said. It's not like that anymore.
No. So when I was 15, I lucked out getting into, it was called the Hartford Stage Company Youth Theater. So he was aware that was the only thing that kind of impressed him, was like, okay, you're going to have some theatrical training.
Well, there's something to be said. He wanted you to be the real deal. It's very much now wham bam, thank you, ma'am. And you have a lot of actors that did grow up in Hollywood families, and they weren't expected to rise to the occasion like you were. He made sure that you were, what do they call it, being on the boards or something.
I think he actually literally did call.
You were on the
Go out on
boards.
the board. Well, you know, again, in his era, which would have been the 1920s, he was in summer stock with Frederick March and a character actress named Gail Sundergaard. I don't know
Okay,
if
no, I don't know either one of them, but I'm not like John DeLeo. He knows everything about everybody.
Well, these were stock companies
Got
in
it.
which you would do various plays, and my grandfather used to tell me that sometimes getting a booking depended on whether you had a set of evening clothes.
Amazing.
And if you had 3 suits, because that meant you could play different kind of parts.
You know,
on the road.
nobody has ever told me that. That's incredible. That if you had the right limited wardrobe,
You needed a tuxedo.
You did right. It was basic.
Well, when you think about that era, again,
Yeah.
the 20s and the 30s, these were sophisticated dramas that they were
Yeah.
doing, and you often would see people in evening clothes and gowns. Again, it's not like today. A casual outfit, something that you would be in the country house, or you could play.
But you were responsible for your own wardrobe.
Yes.
Where's the wardrobe mistress when you
You
need
need
her?
your own. Can you imagine getting a job and they want to make sure that you have 3 suits?
Absolutely. Your beautiful book, and I want to hold this up again. What was the inspiration for the cover?
Well, the cover, it's 2 reasons. I love the movie The Swimmer. I love Burt Lancaster. So
That was my mother's favorite actor, by the way. She swooned over Burt Lancaster.
I swoon. Look at that. Look at him.
He's
But
a
I
handsome man.
I also had a connection to the director, Frank Perry.
Okay.
When I first started in show business, I worked for a film publicist, and we shared our offices. Frank Perry was next door.
Got it.
And he actually gave me my first little job. I did like a 3-line part in a movie of his, and we became friends, and that's how I became aware of the movie The Swimmer. And it's all about dark suburbia in Connecticut, and I always tucked it away in the back of my head that I wanted to write a book about all the movies that were made in Connecticut, but that people didn't realize that they were really about Connecticut, and again describing how Connecticut, when you see it in a movie, in some ways you showed in its dream houses and Mr. Blanding's built his dream house, but then some of it can be very dark, like the ice storm.
The undercurrent, as we call.
Yes.
Well, if you recall, you remember Peyton Place.
Yes.
When I think of Connecticut, that's what I think. My mother is from New Haven. My mother was Miss Connecticut in 1935. I can proudly say.
Oh,
She
cool.
was very cool. But it had that dark undercurrent. You're right.
Yes,
From
always.
Always.
And so I wanted to delve into that, and it started in
Beautiful
Los
book.
Angeles, as kind of a COVID project. And then halfway through the book, as COVID went on and my family lives in Connecticut, I found myself, in a sense, falling for the plot lines of what I was writing
For your
about.
own stuff.
Yes,
That's great.
Maybe I would like a little farmhouse in the country.
Yeah, there's something
and,
to be said for it.
And so I did. It might be a girl fantasy. I always had that wanting to restore an old farmhouse. So, then once you get into it, you realize
It's a money pit. That's what you realize.
I'm on year 3, but I'm in.
You're surviving. She's
Yeah.
here with us
And I'm
today.
here and got the book.
Right.
But so that was the funny secondary part of I fell for my own when I was writing.
You know what? That happens to people all the time. In terms of your acting career, what's next for you?
Right now I'm just doing the.
You're on this book
I'm
tour.
on the book tour. I'm actually
Yeah.
there's another book that I'm writing in the works, and I'm just kind of seeing as the business changes and things are shifting.
Oh, did she hit the nail on the head with that? That is the truth.
Nowadays
it's a different business.
It's kind of a different. It's not like you plan jobs in advance.
Right.
You answer the phone and you say yes.
Right. You know what? I'm loving interviewing you because someone said to me, weren't you supposed to be traveling in Denmark with your sister now? I'm like, no, I got booked to do a number of jobs, and guess what? They call, you say yes, you don't know when it's just become like a mix master.
It's very different these days, very different. So Going with the flow. And
You're
as
going
I
with the
said,
flow.
I love writing these movie books, and that keeps me busy.
Well,
too.
you and John DeLeo, I mean, like separated at birth, you love to write movie. This is great because, as I said to him, you know what? Many people will never get near the stage, the screen, but they can get a beautiful book like this, Connecticut in the Movies, and you'll be entertaining them with the stories in here.
It's on every coffee table in Connecticut.
Well, but she's doing a tour, a national tour, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yeah, so you know what? It'll be on every coffee table across the country.
Yes.
That's what we want.
And again, there's so many movies in here that you probably, again, don't realize have ties to Connecticut, like All About Eve, was a scene in New Haven, Strangers on a Train, shot primarily in Danbury, Connecticut. In the movie, it's fictional Medford. But so a lot of times it's not like Connecticut is specifically, mentioned. Then, as I was saying, you have some films like The Swimmer, like The Ice Storm, that are really about the darkest parts of
the darkest
suburbia, drinking,
cockles of suburbia.
Yeah, swinging and just really
a
lot of crazy things go on there.
You know what? People love that stuff. So thank you so much for bringing all of this to light and being at the Black Bear Film Festival.
Had a blast.
And we have had a blast having you. Ileana, thank you so much for today, and you're going to be screening the movie like in 5 minutes. So
less than 5.
Let's get going, right? Okay, yeah, you need your popcorn. Thank you.